Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a lot to discuss today, but you know the routine. Please go ahead and share this video, get this out, get it out, hit the thumbs up, hit the heart button. No matter how you're watching this, peel this video, get it out there. I have a very special guest that's going to come on with me today, and we're going to talk about USAID and how the Democrats are losing their everlasting mind because all of this stuff is getting exposed. But one of the biggest issues that I really want to talk about is the censorship that USAID was doing. They were also paying these liberal media outlets to censor American people and to push the propaganda. Now, this young man, many of you know who he is. This is Joe Oatman. He has his own network. And Joe, I want to thank you so much for coming on and having this discussion with me to talk about USAID and what is happening and how USAID was funding all of these liberal media outlets, but they were not helping conservative media outlets. Now, I know the reason why they were doing it, but I really want to hear your opinion on this. And why do you think USAID was only funding these liberal media outlets? And thank you so much for joining me too.
Hey, it's great to be with you. Yeah, I missed your face, bro. I haven't seen you in quite some time. I think we both made some pretty significant changes. It's two N's, by the way, Oltmann, just to add that on there.
Okay, we'll correct that.
Everyone makes a mistake on that, though. Hey, listen, it is the conservative media as well. So we haven't uncovered it yet because the money that was being funneled to different organizations around the country and around the world were being done by different organizations. You heard what happened with USAID. You heard what happened with FEMA. So there are dollars that are dispersing and getting back to people that are supposedly on our side. But we have a controlled narrative. We have a controlled narrative on both sides of the aisle. I think we have to pay attention to that. It's the fact that USAID is funding the media sources that are then giving them cover should give everybody pause. But Will, there's a bigger issue that's at play here. It's not just the media; it's everywhere you turn. It's like you pick up it's like cockroaches.
Yeah.
You pick up the couch, there's a bunch of cockroaches. You turn off the lights, cockroaches come. They're everywhere. You walk outside, cockroaches. You get in your car, cockroaches. Like cockroaches everywhere. So you're trying to figure out which cockroach goes to which environment. But the cockroaches are running from facility to facility, from interest to interest. It really is an infiltration. It's as if the cancer has literally taken over the body embodiment of the federal government. And look, we haven't even started talking about what the state funding looks like and what that apparatus looked like in funding downstream to different organizations at the state level as well. We're in a very bad place. Everyone says that, hey, we're out of the woods. We found all the stuff with USAID. Doge is going to solve this problem. We will not solve the problem until we get rid of machines and mail-in ballots, and we get to a place where we actually start doing Doging, have a Department of Government efficiency at the state level as well.
Yeah, one of the biggest things for me when it comes to with USAID is I didn't even know that USAID had any involvement when it came to social media platforms. They went after independent journalists, independent media, and I had no idea until they started talking about USAID. And I think I've heard of USAID in the past, but I didn't really pay attention to it. But now it's at the forefront of all of the corruption that's been taking place. Had you experienced any of the censorship, and do you think that, and I'm pretty sure you have, do you think that USAID probably has your name in a database? Because I personally believe that they have my name in a database somewhere inside of their servers as a person that they want to shut down into silence, because what happened with me on YouTube, what happened with me on Facebook, what happened with me on Twitter before it was X, I was experiencing a lot of the shadow banning, the banning of just being silenced because I was talking about stuff that they didn't want me to talk about. Have you experienced that yourself? Or tell us about your experience. Let me put it that way.
Look, I was a tech CEO. I'm a two-time Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year nominee. I was a finalist in 2020. I got involved in all of this quite by accident. I'm the one that uncovered, obviously, Eric Coomer, Dominion Voting Systems. I've been sued, tattooed, slandered, you name it. They've attacked my family. I've been canceled from X now twice. I'm back on for the third time. I've lost, a million or so followers. People seem to find me no matter where I go. Yeah, so I've been, yes, I was once told by a guy that's in the intelligence community that, Joe, there's a list of 10 people and you're number 2 or 3 on the list. And it has a lot more to do with the fact that you can have intelligence, you can talk about things that are happening, but if you can draw and correlate and gather data in such a way that you can make it understandable by the public, that's where you become very, very dangerous. And so I think I've learned to play ball now. I used to call people retarded all the time on some of these platforms, and I don't believe that we should be taking them seriously. I mean, I don't believe that we should be taking much of what the left says seriously. We debate the ridiculous, which gives them cover. We should ridicule them all the way back into the ground. But the problem with the censorship is that censorship is not just extended to the left. Every platform out there in some way, shape, or form is exercising their ability to censor and or stop content from getting to the surface. And whether we're talking about Rumble or we're talking about some of these other platforms that have been infiltrated, we just saw that the Rumble chief legal counsel left to go work as a deputy secretary for the CIA. I mean, how do you go from running a platform where you're just involved in content to going and working at the higher levels of the CIA if that's not a place that everyone hangs out, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and what's the correlation between the two, right? What's the correlation between somebody leaving, a platform that says it's for free speech and going and working for the intelligence community that still, frankly, is as rotted to the core as it was if we're talking 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago? There's no difference. It's an off-the-rails organization. President Trump does not have it under control. And, we're seeing kind of the manifestation of that, of looking under the hood with USAID. But it's much worse than that. And I can tell you stories about USAID. I can tell you stories about censorship that would make your skin crawl. And frankly, all because we're talking about things that should be in the better interest of every American if we have free, fair elections and if we were living in a true democratic republic government.
Yeah, you mean like the little thing called free speech, something we should be able to do. Let me ask you this, because President Trump during the campaign, he mentioned that they're talking about a digital bill of rights to stop the big tech companies from censoring people, because you should be able to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. I mean, whatever it is you want to talk about. Now, I remember on YouTube, they took my channel down because I did commentary on a video of what CNN was talking about right when people they were saying before people realize the freedom that they have, they should be forced to take the jab. And I'm like, wow. And I'm doing commentary on it. Well, YouTube took my channel down and they said that I was putting out misleading medical advice. And I never claimed to be a doctor, and I never put out any advice. I never told anyone to do X, Y, Z. And even today, and I don't like the fact, because, I was blessed to get my YouTube channel back, and I was blessed to get my Facebook page back. And even today, like, we're live on there right now, but I still have like precaution about what I say and how I say it, even though I've never called for violence. I never called for anyone to do anything. And I tell people, look, if you hear me say something, by all means, you have to go to another source and get more information. And that's the way it should be, that little thing called free speech. But do you think President Trump is going to bring up the digital Bill of Rights? And do you think it's even possible with the current Congress that we have?
I think we have to look at this a little differently. I mean, Will, what's not broken? What's not broken? I mean, if you look at the government holistically, you have professors at Berkeley, one of the terrible universities in the country, one of the most radical, leftist, disgusting, pedophilia, just disgusting organizations, a part of the University of California system, that are coming out and saying that there's not government waste. It's all based on perspective, whether or not you're looking down on the waste or you're looking up at the waste. He's got his hands full. So how do you tackle something that is so systemically broken in every way possible?
Good point.
The judiciary is broken. I mean, let's just go through the list. You have open borders. I mean, it's nonsensical to have people come across the borders and come in and kill and rape and do all the things that you have fentanyl coming across the borders. And for 4 years, it was a free for all.
Yep.
Is that even a sensible thing? Is that even something that a normal person would be able to justify in any way, shape, or form? Could you justify that?
No, but we had Democrats, I call them Democrats, they were justifying it all day. And then they never talk about the hardened criminals. They only talk about the children. The children, we got to do this for the children. And then what, end up 400,000 children missing, but they never even mention that. You're 100% correct. I mean, it is broken.
Okay, so then let's talk about the he bitches, right? The transgenders. Right? I'm gonna call them what they are. The he bitches.
It's appropriate. I never thought about them like that, but hey.
So let's talk about the he bitches. Is it even possible that you could cut off your wiener and you're still a boy, and you're now a girl? Is that even possible? Is that even a risk?
Because if they dig your bones up, 100 years from now, and they do a DNA test, and they're going to find that you were a male.
Man, you know what? I got to tell you something. I want to have bigger forearms, right? But I don't have bigger forearms. Actually, I do have bigger forearms. That's a real But there's things that I want, right? I want to have more hair. Like my hair's, I don't have a lot of hair. I want more hair. So what am I going to identify as having a poofy afro? I mean, come on now. We debate the ridiculous. That's how institutionally broken it is that a lie has become the truth and truth has become the lie.
Yeah.
So President Trump is not going to be able to walk in and say, here's your digital Bill of Rights, and they're going to follow it because none of the states are following any of the constitutional rules now.
Yeah.
They've taken away their gun rights. They've allowed illegals to stay who are there. Just say the word illegal. Now they're saying undocumented. So they're trying to own our language.
Yes. Yes.
Same time that they're justifying really evil things against the American people. And we're going to sit back and go, he's going to pass this digital Bill of Rights and that's going to stop evil from being evil. No, it's not. It is 100% going to take the will of the people. We're going to have to stand up and ridicule the devil back into the hole it came from. President Trump cannot solve all the problems. Now, the only reason President Trump got elected, well, actually, there's one big reason. Look, God delivered that election. I'm going to tell you right now. The Lord literally said, all right, there's still enough of you left. I don't have to destroy anything yet. There's still enough. You want to restore what we do as people and have ethics and morals and love your family. So I'm gonna spare you here, and I'm gonna bring in some people. But it took people. It didn't take the Elon Musks of the world. It took powerful voices that were standing up while they were getting punched in the face to show that we could have faith, remain faithful, run towards that mission of restoration, restoring just common decency and dignity.
Yeah.
But if you look at this from the perspective that President Trump's going to pass this and it's going to fix things, it's not. Because the states are going to ignore it. They're going to ignore it.
To go right along with what you're saying, another example, because I agree with you, because President Trump is doing tremendous positive things and they're fighting against him. Today, President Trump has fired Biden-appointed U.S. attorneys. And I think this is a step. He's trying to get there, but there's going to be a whole bunch of pushback. There's going to be a whole bunch of pushback on it. But to go right along with what you're saying, the Associated Press refused to say the Gulf of America. And they got booted out of the Oval Office because they're not going along. They're being combative. They're fighting against President Trump. And you know what? You're right. Even though it's been changed to the Gulf of America, Google is calling it the Gulf of America. Apple is calling it the Gulf of America, but Associated Press, they're pushing back because they don't want to do it. And now there's $52 million went to the Associated Press. $52 million, taxpayers' money to Associated Press for them to put out propaganda against the American people. I mean, Bro, look at this. It's just ridiculous.
Are you surprised?
No, actually, I'm not. But it's still, I'm not surprised, right? I mean, you're right. It's like, we're not surprised by it. It's just the fact that now you have all of them defending it when they got caught with their hand in the, I don't want to say cookie jar because we all like cookies, but they got their hand caught in someone else's underwear drawer. That's what they did. They got caught. And now they're trying to justify the
They
reason
were
why
in
this was
Melania's
happening.
underwear drawer. See how that happened? They shouldn't have gone in there. They should have stayed out of Trump's bedroom. See, that's what happens. You get caught. Stop putting your little fingers in there.
You know, and then they get upset because Melania Trump's not want to shake their hands. I mean, come on.
I know where your hands have been.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. And then there was another one with Reuters. Reuters, it says the active social engineering defense, large-scale social deception. So they were getting paid to put out propaganda to deceive the masses. I mean, can we get some of this funding? Actually, I think it needs to stop. But it's almost, when I first heard about this, I was telling my producer, I said, man, had I known, maybe I could have put in a request for, 80 million and because they weren't rejecting anything.
Well, here's the problem. You can't dance with the devil. You can't stand on the side of the devil even for a minute.
True.
And one of the things that bothers me about with all this discovery is, have they yet to tell us who's going to jail? Who's gone to jail yet? Who went to jail for deceiving and lying to the American people? It was not a victimless crime. What they did was not something that didn't lead to mass destruction of people in our communities. So if that's the case, and we know for a fact that it caused massive harm to our country, then who's going to jail? Who's being hung for treason?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay the consequences? And my problem is that we are actually not doing the things as a public to say, no, we need our tiki torches and pitchforks. We're going to go take care of this. And I'm not telling you that we have to be violent, but I'm also saying that it might result in violence.
You know what?
Violent is a violent thing. But the last 4 years of my life has been hell.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you and millions of other Americans, it's been absolute terrible. And you're right. Because, and I've been talking about this. President Trump, if he doesn't get them, as soon as they get into the position where they have the House, the Senate, and the White House, they're going to come down on the American people like another country is trying to destroy us. I mean, they were kind of softly doing it, trying to do it to get the American people to support them in doing their tyranny against us. But I say that President Trump doesn't get them now. He has to get them, because if he doesn't, as soon as they get the opportunity, like I just said, they're going to come and get the rest of us, because they're angry with us for voting President Trump into office, because we got tired of all of the wokeism. We got tired of them the wasteful spending. We got tired of it. So the next time, if President Trump doesn't get them, we are in big trouble. And what made me think about that is when James Comey went on with Jen Psaki. He was on with Jen Psaki, and he said, and I'm gonna paraphrase it here because I don't remember exactly how he said it. He said, if we don't stop Trump, he's going to be smarter this time around. He is smarter this time around. He said, so we have to stop him or he's going to get us. And I couldn't believe that he was actually on with Jen Psaki actually saying that. And sure enough, it looks like President Trump is doing it. Yesterday, Pam Bondi, there's a lawsuit against Letitia James and Kathy Hochul.
Come on, bro.
But I hope it's not. Look, I know exactly where you're gonna go, but I'm hoping it's not for show. I know exactly where you're gonna go. I hope it's not for show. Look, American people, we're going after him. I hope that's not the case. It needs to be to the point to where what you just said, that these people go to jail for what they've done. Because other than that, if they don't get mugshots on them, if they're not indicted, then it's all going to be for show. And I'm pretty sure that's where you get ready to go.
My problem is that the American people have been used as pawns and inconvenience to what really is happening. They take this money. It's not fraud and waste. Will, it's not fraud and waste. It's an institutional enslavement of the American people. I have to tell you that until we get to a place where we have Doge in all 50 states, and here's a big one. I want everyone that's listening to understand this, and I'll share it out to my audience as well, so you understand that this conversation we're having is important. You should not pay property tax on your home. The fact that you pay property tax in all 50 states means you don't own your property. You rent it from the government. pay it every year. They get to sell it. They get to basically give it away.
Even after you pay the house off, when you pay your vehicle off. How come I don't have to pay property tax for a TV? Because some TVs, I don't have one, like that new 8K, which is really beautiful. The projection screen is like, some of them can be $6,000, $8,000. How come they don't have to pay property tax on that every year?
Yeah, I mean, this is my point. They'll get to that point. You shouldn't have tollways on every road. You shouldn't have the ability to take from a person more than half of what they're worth. You want to know why we have a 50%, 60% divorce rate? People are barely keeping their head above water. People are poor at different levels. Everyone says, well, this person's doing really well. No, they're poor at a different level. They got different problems to deal with. They have the IRS trying to come down and take everything that they have and push them back just one step further. Everything is a grind in life, no matter where you are in the social construct, until you get to the point where you're an elitist.
So true. Right? So true.
And so we've got to start looking at this from a waste standpoint. 70% of education standards, 70% of education dollars at the state level is spent on administration. 70%. You have inner city schools that don't have air conditioning, and some of the biggest Taj Mahal buildings that house the Department of Education that walk around on these marble floors. We have got it backwards. And until we start looking at it as the American people, parity, I call it parity, parity. There should be parity between leadership and the people. And right now, we don't have parity.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a slave environment. Yep. And I don't care if you're green, yet red, yellow, purple. It doesn't matter to me. And so you start to realize that the judiciary, these judges, did you know that a vast majority of the privatized prisons in the United States are funded, and the investors for those are a part of the judiciary and the legal system?
Yep. You're so spot on. I remember I learned that when I was living in Arkansas and Bill Clinton was the governor, and they had this program where they were building these prison systems. And at the time I was doing electrician work, and I remember talking to this electrician. He said they were building prisons along the Arkansas-Texas border as far as the eye can see. And then it came to the point to where, how do we fill these prisons? Because it was for profit. And that's when Hillary Clinton, along with Al Gore, and all of them came up, Al Gore and even Joe Biden, the 1994 crime bill, all of this, they needed bodies in these prisons. You're spot on with that. You're spot on. Joe, I could have this discussion with you all day long. Let's talk about your new network. Let's talk about the network and how people can come check that out. Because this is, I think, people are hungry for a location where they can get news and get factual information and get where free speech is completely allowed, right? So let's talk about that.
All right. So we built this thing called the Untamed Nation. And untamed means that we are going to always speak the truth. And so we're going to be bringing other broadcasters, podcasters onto the platform. I built the Frank Speech platform. And now I left Frank Speech, and I took my technology with me, right? So I was a COO of that organization. I stepped down right after President Trump was elected. I'd tell you more about the dirty laundry. I may at some point tell everyone about the dirty laundry, but I'm going to tell you this: be consistent in character, and you'll never have a problem with me. If you are not consistent in character and you act like you're something and you're not that person, you're going to have problems with me. And so we built this thing called the Untamed Truth, or Untamed Nation. We're going to have a platform where it will be 100% free speech. We will make it so that as you engage with different broadcasters, that you'll have the ability to be seen, right? Not this where they can on Rumble decide whether or not you get eyeballs, or on YouTube decide they can censor you. Everyone will have the ability to have a voice. And inside of this environment, we have Joe Hoft over there right now. We have Tommy Kerrigan, we have Tina Peters, we have myself, and I've got a list of probably a half a dozen other people that said, Joe, I want to come on the platform. So we'll launch that at the end of February, mid part of March, depending on how we get all the things tweaked and turned. And that will be a platform that will be available on Roku and Apple and all the different platforms on the CTV environment. And so what's really interesting is that since I launched this platform, we've actually increased our views. We had a little over 15 million people that watched our shows. in the month of January. So some pretty exciting things that are happening, and it's going to continue to grow. Will, I'd like to see you over there. Obviously, you and I could probably talk about the other stuff that I was just talking about a little bit, but we won't. We won't talk about that. We will just kind of move forward in peace.
Yeah, and you're right. I think my biggest thing is I don't when I get in scenarios with different people that I've worked with in the past, I don't say stuff publicly because I be honest with you, I kind of move on because right now our biggest enemy in this country are these Democrats. The level of disgusting things that they are doing is just out of this world. And I think you were kind of hitting on it. Not kind of, you actually were hitting on it earlier. And it's about our society, right? We're talking about all this stuff that's happening in our society when we shouldn't even have the discussion about this stupid stuff that's actually happening in our society. There's so many other things that we could be talking about, going fishing, going boating, flying a kite even, or building a model car, race cars. Just there's so many things other than all of this insanity that we're talking about. So how do you say it? The untamedtruth.com, the untamedtruth.com. I really like that. I'm surprised that domain was available. I mean, because I'm like that, the Untamed Truth, because that's what we want. That's what we want. We want the truth to be untamed. I think the truth should be, and I've always been like this. If someone says something that I don't like, I think they should have every right to say it, especially when I don't like it, because for me, that's when free speech starts.
Yeah. So the ultimate goal of reaching your community, like being connected to your community, is that you have to learn that what they do to one of us, they do to all of us.
Yes.
And it truly is not about left and right. You have the lefticals, those are the radicals, right?
The lefticals.
But we have some people that nobody wants to claim.
Are we talking about big balls? Yeah.
These are lefticals. They're the lack of testicles, the lack of balls, the lefticals. That's why we call them lefticals, because they don't have anything.
I love it. Because they left them. They left them somewhere.
Innies and outies, and they have the innies. We'll call them ovarites. The little ovaries that they actually have.
Oh man, I love it. Oh man, I'm gonna have to write these down.
I got a list of them I was on the phone with a guy his name's Jared. He's down in Atlanta, and we're going to work on a project together about how do we because look, I have a passion. My passion is not actually being on a podcast. I'm a tech guy. Mm-hmm. I like to work the problem. I worked 6.5 years in the Middle East and Africa. I was a negotiator over there. I learned Arabic by going back and forth. I'm a little rusty now, so I'm getting back into learning that. I believe in loving your neighbor is not it's not if and when. And I think that we have a lot of foolish people in this country that have been propagated by this money that's been pushed down by USAID. And they just stopped resisting it because it didn't help to resist it, so they joined it. And it's like Stockholm syndrome, but for an entire nation. But my thing is that I want to stop the opportunity droughts. I want to stop the food droughts. I want to stop the education droughts that are happening in inner cities, mostly to this disadvantaged environment that's disproportionately minorities. And so I want to stop that. And the only way to stop that is to expose the system itself and to show them that, look, the people that are really stabbing you are the ones that are betraying you every single day while they institutionalize taking away education and developing this school to prison pipeline. They're the ones bringing in the drugs and the guns and creating instability and chaos. And if we want to eliminate it, we got to stand side by side, and we got to put our foot down and say, look, what we're doing at the federal level, we need to do it at the state level. And we need to drive down to the fact that the criminals, the true criminals in our country, are the ones that are in this bureaucracy. Yeah. And the judges is probably the most rotted. And we need to get rid of almost every judge.
100%. They should be impeached. They should be removed. I mean, so I'm going to be in high hopes that President Trump is successful and they start actually getting these people. So the untamedtruth.com, the untamedtruth.com. I love it. I love it. Joe, sir, thank you so much for joining me and having this discussion with me.
Absolutely. God bless you, brother.
God bless you. Take care. Okay, everyone. The untamedtruth.com. Go check it out. The untamedtruth.com. I'm gonna have a deep discussion with this young man and see about myself getting on the network because I want to be able to reach people everywhere. Everywhere. Now, I do have some other stuff that I want to share with you, but first, let me tell you about this wonderful coffee. You heard about the 1775 coffee? Have you heard about that? Have you heard about that? I want to talk about this wonderful coffee. And if you can go ahead, can you bring that up for me? Because I want to talk about that. Do the lower third for me. Go ahead and bring up the coffee for me. Can you bring up the coffee? Okay, there we go. I want to tell you about this. Do you enjoy free speech? Now, Rumble is protecting it and fighting for it. Our show is on Rumble and is only possible thanks to our viewers supporting Rumble's platform by purchasing Rumble's products. Most of you drink coffee every day. That's why I like for you to try the Rumble's 1775 coffee. It's actually some of the best coffee, and it's the same price you already pay for coffee now, but it's way better. Rumble 1775 coffee is free from chemicals and yet rich in flavor. This is because their beans are produced in high altitudes in Bolivia, hand-picked, roasted weekly in their facility in Miami, and delivered fresh to your doorstep. As a believer in freedom, buying Rumble's coffee and fighting against the woke corporations like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, you'll make a difference. Join the coffee revolution and brew rebellion with Rumble 1775 coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com, use code STUDIO, and get a free month of supply of the cognitive boosting supplement Limitless when you buy 2 bags of coffee. Think about that. It's a crazy deal, and the supplements are worth more than the bags of coffee. Go to 1775coffee.com and try their amazing coffee today. Try it today. Try it today. Okay, like I said, I do have some other stuff that I want to share with you. This first one is with Mad Maxine Waters. Wait. They're so angry right now with Elon Musk exposing what they've been doing. And I want you to listen carefully because Mad Maxine Waters actually says the quiet part out loud. She says that we don't know what they're getting on us. See, that's what it comes down to. The reason why they went to these locations is because they were trying to prevent the American people from finding out what they were doing. Trying to prevent them from finding out what they were doing. Listen to this.
When Musk comes knocking at the Fed's door, you gonna let him in?
Yeah, why not?
I don't have anything for you on that.
Would you like to tell us today that you won't let Doge into the Federal Reserve or have access to the system?
Right there. And I want y'all to listen to this part because this is the key point. Listen to it. Watch right here. You leave it split screen too, because I want to make sure. Watch.
And we don't know what all they have on us, our bank accounts.
We don't know what they have on us. We don't know what they have on us. Bank accounts, the corruption. She's concerned because they've been doing this criminal activity for the longest.
Everything that in our lives. So I want to protect it in the Fed. Mr. Powell.
So she wants to protect it all. She wants to protect it all. But it doesn't stop there. Every last one of the Democrats, they wake up in the morning to figure out how they can prevent President Trump and Elon Musk from exposing more of the corruption that they've been doing. You know what? The Democrats could do to make themselves look somewhat like they're decent people. to make them look, I mean, to give the perception to the American people that they actually care about us. You know what they should do? I mean, they could even just lie about it, but see, they can't help themselves. They could just come and say, you know what? We should stop this. We should bring an end to this. They should come out and say it. And they're quick about lying in the background. They don't have any issues about lying to anybody about what they've been doing. So they could just come out and just lie. But it's like they haven't figured that part out again. They've been accustomed so much to lying, they're just, out in the open lying to everybody. Like, oh my goodness, we got to stop this. We got to stop them from telling the American people about the wasteful spending that we've been doing, that we've been supporting, we've been pushing. Here's a prime example of this. Listen to Chuck Schumer here. And he says he went and talked to some people in a small community, and some of them don't have the funds any longer, and some of them do, and they're just getting cut off. Really? He doesn't tell anyone about the wokeness behind these organizations.
The bottom line is simple. Everyone knows there's waste in government and should be cut, but DOGE is using a meat axe, and they're cutting things that are efficient and effective. I was in Albany and Syracuse on Monday talking at community health centers. Many of them have had their funds cut temporarily, some even that hasn't been restored yet. And they're the most efficient healthcare providers around. Take AID. Maybe there's some programs they don't like, but most people agree that PEPFAR was extremely effective and cost effective. Most people would want to see us continue our fight in Central Africa against Ebola so it doesn't come here. And so the bottom line is very simple, okay? If you want to make cuts, then you do it through a debate in Congress, not lawlessly by just implementing it.
You see this? The thing that they're trying to do here is trying to end it. They're trying to remove any access of Elon Musk, and they're out there fighting President Trump from exposing any of this. That's their goal here. That's their goal. How do we stop President Trump? And again, like I just mentioned, I mean, think about it. You know what it made me think about? These people out there protesting against President Trump because he's wanting to deport these hardcore criminals. I mean, just the worst of the worst. These gangs that are not even born in America, these gang members that came to America and doing horrible things. President Trump, his administration, is wanting to deport them. And the Democrats, they don't say anything about them being hardcore criminals. They just all, like they normally do, they say it's about the children, the women and the children, families. When President Trump has made it clear, him and Tom Homan saying that, look, we're going to go after the hardcore criminals. And to get to my point is that when these people are out there protesting in the streets, none of them are holding an American flag. None of them. And I guess, and actually, since that has come about and that we pointed that out, there's been a few of them waving an American flag, but it's only those that are like standing with them and they know who they are. But if I went there and I stood there with the American flag and said that you have to be an American citizen to remain in the country, they will take my American flag and want to burn it. But they would never hold the American flag, and they had all of these flags of Mexico. And if they would have had the American flag out there marching, not holding the Mexican flag or any other flag, but if they were holding the American flag and said, look, we've been here all this time. We've been contributing to America. Please help us. Please help us. Now, if they would, if people were saying that, please help us. We want to do the right thing. We left this terrible country because we know the milk and honey flows in America. And that's the reason why we're here. We want a better life for our family, but none of them do that. None of them do that. They're all out there rioting. They're all out there doing this crazy stuff. Which brings me to my other point, how the Democrats, when it comes to USAID, they're not even talking about the criminal aspects of it, all of the wasteful spending that's been happening. They're only talking about is being exposed. What is that? And how do you wrap your mind around that? How do you fix your mind to think that it is okay to even do that in the first place? How do you do that? Am I missing something? Am I missing something? Well, here's another example. And I do apologize for the enhanced language in here, but this was them talking about on the Communist News Network. And Shannon, apparently they like this part of the male species. I'm just saying. And someone put the picture over there. Have you seen that, Shannon? It says help eliminate Elon. And then at the bottom of it is tagged like it's a USAID funded poster. Yeah, it kind of looks similar. I think you're muted over there.
It's kind of similar to the ones that they put out all over DC about.
Yeah,
Trump
that's what it is.
yeah.
This is a picture of it.
Yeah.
Someone put it right there in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. They put these pictures there, and it looked like it's being funded by USAID. Now, whoever put these posters up, they should be dealt with. But I want y'all to listen to this. And again, I do apologize for the enhanced language.
I want to hear why, but do you think that calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick. And I think he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy, for the future of this country. And it's important to push back on the chairperson of this committee. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene talks about having decorum, about bipartisanship. This is the person that lies more than anybody else in the entire Congress. And so if she is going to make a mockery of hearings, I want to make sure that us as Democrats are bringing that same level of energy. And of course, after those comments, we went into exactly what Elon Musk is trying to do: dismantling the Department of Labor, dismantling the Department of Education, dismantling all of our consumer protection agencies. And so it's all important, but it's also important to get the attention of the American public and call Elon Musk out for what he is, and to make people know that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a serious legislator and she shouldn't be treated as such.
So there's another video yesterday. Did we play that yesterday?
We played it
with
yesterday.
Anderson Cooper. I mean, so apparently CNN has come really fond of that part of the male anatomy, right?
Yeah, they almost sound like that's the allowable word now.
Yeah, I mean, really, really. So they're upset with, the reason why they're calling Elon Musk this is because he's filthy rich, richest man in the world currently. And he's going against the world demonic agenda. You're not supposed to do that. I explained this yesterday. They expect you to be this rich. You're supposed to go along with the evilness of this world. This is the reason why you're rich. And it's almost like because they're all Satanists even. And because you're a Satanist, you're supposed to go along with the evilness of this world. The evilness of this world is the reason why you have anything. Like you hear the expression how the people sell them souls, like a lot of music artists, and then they become really, really famous. This is the way they're thinking. This is their thinking. Like, look, you've taken the knee to the evilness of the world, and now you're pushing against it, and now they're calling him all of these hateful names. Now, the USAID is not even just in the spending. Like I was just talking to Joe Oatman, where they were involved in censorship of the American people as well. I want y'all to listen to some of this. This is from Michael Schellenberger. He was in the hearing today on Capitol Hill and talking about USAID. Because you notice none of the Democrats, none of them, I have yet to hear them come out and say that they're against what he is saying about USAID going to the big tech companies and censoring independent journalists, such as myself. Listen to this.
Since its creation by President John F. Kennedy in 1961, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has had as its mission the promotion of America's values of free speech, democracy, and free markets by helping others abroad. the name suggests that the organization is focused on aiding poor nations in ways that result in their economic growth. Why then has USAID been spending so much money on information control and information operations, both in the form of demanding censorship by social media platforms and by financing supposedly independent journalism?
So why is that not a problem for those on the left? I haven't heard CNN talk about this. I haven't heard MSDNC talk about this, or ABC, CBS, the entire Alphabet Network soup group. I have yet to hear any of them talk about USAID going to the big tech companies to silence independent journalists. And you know why? Because independent journalists on YouTube and Facebook, and even at one point Twitter, right before it became X, and especially now on X, getting more views. They were getting more views. I remember there was a report that allegedly that CNN was reaching out to YouTube to get them to block conservatives that were getting more views than they were during their daytime shows. They said, you got to end this. They're getting more views. So am I to believe that USAID didn't have anything to do with Will Johnson being blocked for reporting on the news on Facebook and YouTube? Again, I strongly believe that my name is probably floating around somewhere in the database of USAID.
Why is the United States government in general, and USAID in particular, the largest donor to supposedly independent media worldwide? For example, USAID in 2021 published a disinformation primer that urged greater censorship by social media platforms, as well as pre-bunking, a psychological technique to program people to reject information disfavored by the government without thinking. USAID may have been doing and funding worthwhile projects, and it may be that Congress will need to pass legislation to continue those projects through the State Department. But it's inaccurate to suggest that the USAID closure and freeze on aid will kill African children, as some have done, or cause other harms. The Trump administration has already created a waiver for HIV treatment and resumed aid for tuberculosis, malaria, and newborn health. And USAID's health programs should be subject to scrutiny given the agency's history of using such programs as cover for other activities, including regime change and biodefense research.
You know, it's interesting that you hear all of them say, oh my goodness, you're cutting off the USAID aid going out. You're cutting it off. You're cutting it off from going out. And people are going to lose their lives. People are going to lose their lives because you're cutting it off. I'm sorry. I'm not, you know what? I'm not, you can take him off the screen. I'm not a heartless person. And I do have compassion for people on this planet. I really do. But there's something that you have to do first. You have to take care of your home first. You ever been on an airplane? I'm gonna give you, I've used this technology before. You ever been on an airplane? When you're on the airplane, for those of you that still listen to what the stewardess is saying, now my switchboard operator went to DC with me and he was listening to him. You know, I've been on there so many times, I don't even listen to him any longer. You know what I'm talking about. Well, one of the things that they tell you is that in case of an emergency, the airbags will fall down, and they demonstrate it and they show it fall down. You know, I should try to get one of those, Shannon, because I use this analogy all the time because Democrats don't seem to get it. Well, anyways, the air mask will drop down. What did they tell you to do first? What's the first thing that, and Shannon, you've heard it too. You've been on, you don't like flying, but you've been on there enough where you've heard it. What is the first thing that they tell you to do?
Put it on yourself first.
Put it on yourself first. Why did they tell you to put on yourself first?
Because you can't help anybody unless you help yourself.
Yeah, because if you're trying to put the mask on a little child or an elderly person that's struggling, whatever, and you haven't put yours on and you're trying to put theirs on, next thing you know, you're struggling, they're struggling, they pass out and you pass out. But if they're struggling and you go ahead and put yours on, it's the same analogy when it comes to other countries. These other countries are struggling. We need to put our mask on first. We need to take care of our country first, and then we can assist these other countries. Who disagrees with me? Because we are a giving nation. We love to help people. We don't have no issues about helping people. But it becomes difficult to help others when we don't even help ourselves. And people should be teed off about when they found out was it $54, $59 million going to a hotel. in New York from FEMA, and this is after Mayorkas was saying that, oh, there is no more money from FEMA. Sorry, Americans, you get nothing. But they found $59 million to go to a hotel that's housing people that are not even Americans. You see what's happening here? And none of the Democrats seem to have an issue with that. None of them have an issue with that. It's like, let's take the money away from the American people. It's okay to take their money. And this whole thing with the censorship, with the big tech companies, I truly hope that at some point it's going to come to an end. I really do. I really do hope it comes to an end. I really do.
What will, I think that one thing, like Joe Altman was saying, that, even our state governments are so messed up. I mean, actually, the state government here in Texas is even messed up. We have Democrats that are starting to take over. And if Republicans don't get stronger and the people don't start being more knowledgeable and stop listening to the legacy media and start getting out there and finding out the truth for themselves, we're going to continue this cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Trump can only do so much. He only has 4 years. This United States and these states have become messed up for decades. I
Yep.
mean, it's not an overnight thing to take care of. He can only do so much. And we do need to do our part in the states at the city level. You can start in your city. We're not even saying, state level. Start in your city level.
Yes, 100%. And let me say thank you really quick to Sly Park for the pills on pill.net, and Ohio Kim, thank you so much. And Sly Park again, thank you so much. And Culture Dog as well.
Filter Dog.
Oh, I'm sorry, Filter Dog. I do apologize. Filter Dog. Thank you so much for the pills on pill.net. And Ohio Kim says, we are the news now. 100%. They don't like to hear that. And you know what? That's the reason why they were going to the big tech companies to silence conservatives, because conservatives were getting more views than them. They were getting more views because people were getting tired of being lied to constantly. So then they were coming to people like Will Johnson and other people, of course, to get their information, because like, you know what? I'm tired of them lying to us. Let me tell you something that I just here recently started doing myself. And this is such an amazing program. It really is. The smart money strategy. Warren Buffett invested over $50 billion in energy. Billionaire Ken Griffin increased his oil investment by 150%. Even Elon Musk said we can't live without oil. But here's what Wall Street isn't telling you. There's a smarter way for you to profit from oil than buying stocks. And the reason why I'm all about this program is because President Trump is going to drill, baby, drill. So you can only imagine. It's a unique investment that lets you collect monthly royalty checks from America's richest oil fields. You're not just buying shares into a company. And, a lot of people are like, I don't know. It's like the stock market, this and that. A lot of people look away from that, and I completely get it. You're getting direct ownership in oil producing properties, which is phenomenal. And you can start off with just $25. This is the great deal. This is like the greatest deal. I'm like, what? I love it. And I'm really excited about it. And I'm not just telling you this so you can learn more. And you can learn more by going to the #1 oil royalty play of 2025. And that is JohnsonOilBoom.com. And of course, I'm not telling you this just for you to go look at it. But look, go read the information up on it. That's JohnsonOilBoom.com. And discover how you can start collecting a monthly oil royalty check starting today. I mean, it's like a no-brainer. And, I was thinking about this earlier. You remember how when Google started and Apple started and some of the other big tech companies started, and people were like, man, if I could go back in time and invest in the company, I could be a millionaire today. Same thing they did with crypto. A lot of that was taking place. A lot of people, I've thought about it too. I think this is going to be one of those things. Just personally, I'm just saying this on a personal level. I don't know the future, but on a personal level, I truly think that this is going to be one of those things. I really do. So JohnsonOilBoom.com. Go check it out. Go check it out. Check it out. Okay, let me tell you about something else really quick before we get out of here. Are you ready to show your support in style? Sticker Mule has a fantastic offer just for you. For a limited time, you can grab a free Trump sticker. Yes, you heard that right. Free. Oh, you gotta love free. Whether you want to decorate your laptop, car, office space, these high quality, durable stickers are perfect for making a statement. Just imagine how great they'll look, and how super easy to apply. Here's how it works. Head over to stickerpack.com, sign up, and claim your free sticker. I did say free, everybody, and watch the fun unfold. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Stock is limited, I'm telling y'all, so act fast, spread the word, let your voice be heard with Sticker Mule's awesome stickers. Once again, that is stickerpack.com today, and grab your free Trump sticker before they're gone. Go to it right now, everybody. Go to it. You see it right there. You see it right there. You see it right there. Awesome. So, just really quick, one more thing, if I can. RFK's been confirmed. RFK's been confirmed. And then Tulsi Gabbard was confirmed yesterday. And then we're waiting. And that rumor has it that Kash Patel is like,
they're going to do a vote today.
He's going to do a vote today, so he may be confirmed tonight.
Hopefully.
Let's
if
go.
They can get it done.
Let's go. So can you imagine what's going to end up happening once Kash Patel is confirmed? Now, I was kind of hoping that I would have heard something, and I haven't really had time to go out there and look, but I can only imagine that Tulsi Gabbard is like going to come with some explosive news, which is going to be really awesome. Really awesome. Okay, everybody, that is it for me. Thank you so much. God bless all of you for participating. If you haven't already, please hit the peeled button on peeled.net. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Please bless me by hitting the thumbs up. Hitting the thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the heart button. Hit the heart button. And of course, on Rumble, hit the thumbs up as well. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow right here. Tomorrow's Friday. Open lines, so you can give me a call. Tomorrow's Friday, open line day. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow.